The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interested you, and we've got a big week, a very varied week of toy news this week. A lot of different lines represented, a lot of things coming out. As usual, our wallets are still crying. They're crying on a daily basis if you're deep into this action figure game. But a lot of stuff to talk about here this week, and a lot going on. It's been a busy week in the action figure world, and personally, I've been all over the world, it feels like, traveling all over the place. And this coming week, I'll be down in Dallas, Texas. Beautiful this time of year. It's got to be a lot warmer than what I'm dealing with. I had like 5 inches of snow at my house the other day. You can check out that and some of the figure hunts and things like that on the channel. But I'll be down in Dallas, Texas. Hopefully a little bit warmer down there. Hopefully I can get some toy hunting in this time. Last time I was down there, I didn't get to. Work got in the way, but I might have a couple of hour window to knock out some figure hunt. Would be loving to hunt in Texas. We'll see what happens with that. So more to come. Make sure you subscribe to this very YouTube channel. Of course, at the top of the toy news every week, we do plug the Patreon. Of course, got to get the plug out of the way. Your best way to support the channel and all the content that it brings here on the channel. A lot going on, of course. And the Patreon, you get early access to all the videos, bonus content, exclusive content, Q&As, pizza reviews, you name it. This week's giveaway over there on the old Patreon is the brand new Top Picks John Cena. So if you're into Super Mario Bros. 3 John Cena, that is the giveaway this month on the Patreon. So there you go. But let's dive in. Let's dive into all the news this week, and a lot of news, like I said. And let's start it off with the wrestling news of the week. Very retro wrestling heavy. Of course, a little bit of the doldrums right now in as far as toy news for Mattel, because they're gearing up for the Access event for WrestleMania, so we should have a lot of knowledge, a lot of things dropped around that time. But we do have a lot of stuff this week, and like I said, a lot of retro stuff. And first off, Ringside Collectibles, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%, as I always do say. Friday, they did launch the NWO Retro 4-pack. Of course, the Mattel Retros, the retro craze, running hard, running fast, running free like a young Lando Calrissian, or even a Rio from time or two. But the NWO 4-pack is there on Ringside. It is a Ringside exclusive. Beautiful box, very cool pack here. And the first tag team sets we've had since the Hasbro days. So this is a very cool idea as well. But we're getting, of course, Kevin Nash. You're getting Scott Hall. You're getting X-Pac, Six, Sean Waltman, 1-2-3 Kid, X-Pac, we'll call him. And then you're getting, of course, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So you get a little retro invasion into your Fig Fed right here. Of course, like I said, Ringside Collectibles exclusive. Head on over there if you're getting all those. I need 2 sets. You guys know as of right now, I'm a completionist loose and mint on card. We'll see how long I can keep that game up, but that is the score right now. But go over to Ringside, pick those up if you are into them. But we continue on with more retro news. Yes, you heard it here first, more retro news. We got Zombie Sailor this week, showing off some pre-production samples of Smart Mark Sterling, of course, from AEW, the major pod. We all know Smart Mark Sterling. As he calls me, David C. Anderson's friend with the long hair. That's what he called me the other day. I still laugh about that. But Mark Sterling is getting his Zombie Sailor. It sounds like this summer, and we do know Zombie Sailor flipping the script a little bit. The long pre-order days are coming to an end very soon, and eventually, hopefully this summer, you'll be able to order, and in 2-3 weeks, whatever, the product will be in your hands. So they're going to speed up that shipping time, that distribution time. That should be a big, big win for Zombie Sailor and the Heels and Faces line. That is really, the pack is right here. Who's going to break out? Obviously, Mattel's got a little bit of an advantage, but Zombie Sailor seems to be breaking out. Will Wrestling Trader, Hassel Toys, KWK, will some of these other ones rise with it? It's going to be an interesting year for the retros, and I've said it all along. I said we'll see a lot of guys rise, but we're going to see some of them fall. Who will that be? I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out where that all shakes out. But that's not it for retro news this week. I talked about the Zombie Sailor there, but Hassel Toys coming in hot. He did show a nice sample of Ahmed Johnson, Tony Norris, I guess officially, but Ahmed Johnson coming to his line there. Looks really good. I got to be honest. Looking at this sample right here, it looks just like Ahmed Johnson. I think that looks absolutely fabulous. More to come on that, I guess, sooner rather than later. Hassel Toys also this week showed off Mabel. It looks like he's bringing old big Mabel to the line. Hopefully a little Yokozuna size there. It's going to be interesting, the scaling on that one. But Mabel, there's another one, another classic guy that we could have maybe got back in the old Hasbro days if the line would have continued. And he did have another big announcement, as we are getting Oscar as well. So Oscar, of course, the guy on the stick there, wrapping their way to the ring. And I believe Figure Collections, Cella Toys, Wrestling Trader, somewhere along that mix there, I believe Mo is coming from them. I could be mistaken, but I know somebody showed a Mo, but I believe it was them. So we will finally get Men on a Mission via a couple of different toy lines, but we'll eventually get them. So for you Men on the Mission fans, it's going to be a golden era for Men on the Mission fans. But Hassel Toys got both of those coming. Of course, we've talked about the Savio Vega. We know all about the Godfather coming. He's got quite a few things in the works, and we'll see where those all shake out to be. But I'm excited for Mabel, I'm excited for Oscar, and I'm actually really more excited than I thought I was going to be for Ahmed Johnson, as that figure does look really, really good. Moving on over to Rush Collectibles, showing some artwork this week on some of the carding for Larry Zbyszko and Jonah. Carding looks great. The figures look all right too. It's just we need to get them in hand. I know the Major Pod Group is really hammering on a lot of these lines for showing artwork all the time. And hey, I get it. We've talked about that here on this channel a few months ago as well. Everybody's showing artwork, but we're not getting all the product we need. And it's tough when you don't have the backbone of a Mattel or a Hasbro, a NECA, even a Super 7 promoting and pushing. It's like these little companies, Hastel Toy Stuff, they got to be out there on Instagram every single week causing some commotion, reminders out there. And you want to do something different, you're going to show some artwork, you're going to show some prototypes, you're going to show some in-hand painted samples, anything to really keep stoking the flames and getting out there. So I get what they're trying to do here, but it does seem overkill at certain points where it's just artwork after artwork after artwork without actually product samples. It is what it is, though. That seems to be the name of the game here in 2023, but stay tuned. You guys have seen a lot of that stuff. We're going to see some more here, as they did show from Rush Collectibles. Dan the Beast Severn. I'm all in on some Dan Severn. I love Dan Severn back in the UFC days, of course, then him into wrestling, so I got no problems with Dan Severn. Maybe one of the most boring wrestlers of all time. I know a lot of people weren't really big fans. He didn't have the greatest wrestling career. He was NWA champion for a long time because really there was nobody else with a name to hold the moniker during that dark time of the NWA. But Dan Severn, I'm going to get this. I would love this. And really, to me, where's Ken Shamrock? We need a retro Ken Shamrock from somebody. I don't know if Mattel is planning on doing that. Do they have the license for him with the Legends release? Or can one of these other companies do it? But give me all the Ken Shamrocks. I'm all in on Ken Shamrock. We need one to pair with the old Dan Severn here. So we'll see if that ends up shaking out down the line. But they did show from Rush Collectibles. They showed us some artwork this week of Zbyszko and Jonah, and they showed us a little Dan Severn artwork as well. So all in on the artwork this week. KWK, interesting one. We've talked about them with the Conquistadors, Haystacks Calhoun, and of course the versions of Kamala. An interesting go-to-market strategy with different exclusives around the world. I've talked in the past. I'm not a big fan of that. I understand the reasoning for that. But for somebody like me that says, I want to be a completionist, I'm a completionist in a lot of lines, I kind of look at that like, oh, I'm going to have to go to Europe and track this one down. I'm going to have to go down to, South America and track this one down. That really does turn me off, because as much as I want Kamala, I don't want to pay $40, $50 for it, which, I mean, that's what you're going to have to pay for a lot of these smaller run ones. But then the import fees and all the extra shipping, all of a sudden that Kamala turns into $100 to get from South America. I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze there, and I don't know if I can be a completionist there. So I might just grab the regular Kamala, whatever one's for North America, and just call it good right there. But this week they did talk about the Conquistadors again. And I talked about it last week, how cool these looked, and it sounds like what I was wondering last week was, is it going to be the same figure, you just have to buy two of them? But no, they're going to have different sculpts and a little bit different looks to them, so it truly is two different versions of the Conquistadors. I think that's a smart move. We're going to get that out there. So more Conquistadors coming. They did also show Haystacks Calhoun again. We've seen him before, but a little bit more meat on the bone for Haystacks when you get the overalls on him and stuff like that, but it does look really good. And I got to say, we haven't had any in-hand samples, anything like that, but this KWK line looks very, very realistic for retros. As a lot of times the retros are a little bit cartoony. These look very realistic, so a very interesting take on the retros. I'm very interested to see where this dives into, where this ends up going in the long run there. So very interesting there with old Haystacks Calhoun. And, of course, the Conquistadors. So, a lot of stuff going on. I think that's it for retro news. I'm looking at my notes here. That's a lot of retro news from a lot of different companies here. So, we'll see what happens. Luna Vachon Figure Collections is shipping right now. I never pre-ordered that. I keep going back and forth. Do I need that in my collection? I feel like I do. I don't know, but I think I need to pick up that Luna Vachon. Maybe I'll have to look into picking her up fairly soon to complete my retros, or whatever you want to call it. Major Bendies, we don't talk a ton of Major Bendies here, as I'm not the biggest Bendies guy, but I like the idea, I like what they're doing, I like how they're filling a niche in the marketplace. Nobody else is doing Bendies. They did announce on Friday, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's a major get in the Bendies line. Hacksaw, of course, a familiar favorite, a Hall of Famer, one pretty much everybody does know, so we're getting a major Bendy of Hacksaw. I look at this one and I immediately say, okay, 4th of July repaint coming soon with the face paint. If they don't do that, they're missing money out there, because always love that look of Hacksaw Jim Duggan with the face paint. Should be a very easy one to do. Heck, they could even turn him into black trunks to match up with the LJN. There's a lot of variants they could actually do just off of this Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And it sounds like we are getting Demolition in the Major Bendies as well. So they're really branching this line out from being Major Pod friends, the Major Pod guys, to getting guys from outside. And we saw that with Effie. We've seen it with Jeff Jarrett, Conrad Thompson. But now you're getting into Hacksaw. You're getting into Demolition. Sounds like this line is growing, and it could really snowball into something even more special in the future. So we'll keep our eyes on all that. Like I said, I'm not a big Bendy guy, but I'm keeping my guys really close on these. Of course, dabbling in them from time to time as well. So if you're into Hacksaw, stay tuned to the Major Bendies, Major Pod, all that kind of stuff. There'll be tons more info, including on sale dates, I'm sure sooner rather than later. Now we turn our attention away from wrestling. No AEW news, no Mattel news this week, but a ton of other news this week. And we'll start it off with old NECA and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Been a while since we've heard anything from NECA. I think I even mentioned in my figure hunt, gosh, it feels like forever since we've had a NECA cartoon 2-pack. Well, Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, set your watch, set your calendar, set your clock, set what you need to do. It sounds like we're getting the NECA TMNT portable portal generator, very easy for me to say. That is going up for pre-sale on Tuesday. So you're getting a little portal thing. We did see that at San Diego Comic-Con. I think it was with Usagi Yojimbo. We saw a little combined little display there. That is going up for pre-order. NECA exclusive, it sounds like. So if you're into that, you need that for your diorama, need that for your display. NECA, 11 o'clock Eastern time, I think on Tuesday. So set your calendar, set your watch, like I said. So we got that coming. They did do an update this week on NECA's YouTube channel about the van. Of course, the van sounds like it's coming a little bit later this year. Delayed once again. It seems like all these vans get delayed. We do know Super 7's coming in the fall. Sounds like NECA's will be right behind it. I think NECA was originally earmarked for this time. Sounds like it's going to be summertime now. But they did do some improvements. They did do some of that kind of stuff. They showed it in that video. So if you're interested in the NECA van for the Turtles, check out that video on NECA's YouTube channel. Very interesting times for the Turtle line with so many splinter groups, so many different groups doing them. I've talked about it many times here on the channel. I still have all the Super 7 Ultimate Turtles to unbox. I haven't got around to it. I need to get all those unboxed. We'll have the Super 7 Turtles in tomorrow's weekly purchases video as well, so stick around for that. So a lot going on right there. And then speaking of Super 7, did somebody say Super 7? It's really Super 7 week, and you'll see that in weekly purchases as well tomorrow if you're following along, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. But this week they did announce the latest wave of the Super 7 Ultimates edition of The Simpsons, and one line that really blew me away. Check out those unboxings here on the channel. Those figures were way better than I anticipated them to be. They looked really good. I just didn't know how they'd be, and I was very, very pleased with Series 1. Sounds like we got a heck of a wait for Series 2, but then we got another line here that's going up for pre-order. Gotta imagine we'll be seeing those sometime mid-2024, so that's the bad thing. They show us these pictures, we get all excited, then you got a year-plus wait after that. So that's the biggest gripe I always have with Super 7. But we are getting Moo Moo Homer. We talked about that last week. It was kind of teased. We're officially getting that. That's going to be a giant-sized figure, of course. Dredrick Tatum, of course, the Mike Tyson-type character. We are getting him, so that's a pretty cool cut, though. I think a lot of people are excited for. Radioactive Man coming to the line, and then we're getting Satan Flanders, which is a deep cut from the House of the Halloween episodes times, of course. But very interesting. No Marge, no Lisa still. We got a Maggie coming with some of the aliens in the prior set. We've had Bart as Bartman coming, and of course different versions of Homer, including in this line. So nothing from Maggie, nothing from Lisa yet. Have to think they'll get to it, but when are they going to make plain Jane regular versions of the family? So very interesting, as I talked about in the unboxings, they seemingly have this line for quite some time. If they're going this deep in all these sets and not giving us the traditional family members, I got to think Super 7 has this wrapped up in like a 5-10 year contract, something like that, and they're going to dangle those carrots, get us to buy some of these, then finally give us the homer we really want. Because, hey, if you get that first homer, you get that family in Series 1, a lot of people will get that series, tune out the rest of the way. You've got to keep stoking the flames with some of these deep cuts and things like that, but I really do feel at this point, we should have had at least one normal family member. So maybe in the next series they'll start that. Not exactly sure. It'll be interesting if they have vehicles with this. Will they have Moe's Bar? Will we get the Simpsons family car? It'll be very interesting to see where this line goes. But so far, what I've seen and what I've had in hand, what I've had here at the table, I've been very impressed with these figures. So I'm very much looking forward to all the future Simpsons figures in my collection. So we got that one. The Four Horsemen, guys, Mythic Legions, of course, came in on Friday. They are re-releasing the Headless Horseman. We unboxed that around Halloween time. That was a special figure obscura release. Now it is being re-released in March. It's going to go up for pre-order for a couple of weeks. Anybody that wants one can get them. And of course, they're doing some changes here. They've got some green effects, some glow-in-the-dark effects, some changes in some of the color to make it different. I really do want another one of these, but can I really justify $100+ on this? Because I got the first one. There's not a ton of differences. Do I need two Headless Horsemans? I love Ichabod Crane as much as the next guy, but do I need two of these? I don't know. I don't think I do. So as of right now, it's going to be a pass for me. Part of me says maybe I buy it just to get that second horse. Not exactly sure there, but I got to figure it out. But for those that missed out on that one, I think there's going to be a lot of excitement for a lot of people to pick that one up, in March. So you got 2 week order period window. Make sure you dive in or forever hold your peace, as some might say. And then, of course, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there, like a young Jerry Reed is. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Finally, Marvel Legends putting a few things up for pre-order that we knew were coming. We just didn't know when and where. And Yondu, of course, from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And we'll talk a little Guardians of the Galaxy in Album of the Week this week. But we got that, the Target exclusive, up for pre-order. They also came in with an Ant-Man up for pre-order. A very plain Jane Ant-Man. Of course, his new movie, the new Ant-Man movie, launching this weekend. So it makes a lot of sense to release a pre-order for a Marvel Legend for the comic version of Ant-Man. So a lot of people excited about that one. But the one that got most people excited, myself included, we got a little army builder as a Target exclusive. The old tracksuit Mafia, looking really, really cool. I'm all in on these. Definitely going to need 3 of these, possibly some more. Very cool, very smart idea from the Marvel Legends team because they know people are going to be army building these bad boys. Very, very cool idea. So we got 3 pre-orders this week. I think all 3 are sold out right now. You'll have to check the Target website out. Of course, they will be hitting stores in the future, and you can get them then too, I'm sure. Target, for the most part, with their exclusives, really do eventually get to retail. Walmart, on the other hand, it's kind of up in the air these days, it seems like. Very, very strange times with old Walmart. So that was some Marvel Legends. But hold on, we're not done with Marvel, as Marvel Select Diamond Select came in with a new pre-order for The Invisible Woman. Of course, we did see Reed Richards a while ago. He should be coming sooner rather than later. Thing has been bouncing around for the last couple of years, and Human Torch has as well. So if you're willing to build, if you're wanting to build another Fantastic Four set, there it is. Invisible Woman Sue Storm's going to complete that series. Would look really cool as a little standalone. I don't know. I'm almost thinking about, do I need to go back and rebuy Thing and Human Torch, which I sold? Probably not. You can only get so many Fantastic Fours. Or can ya? Can ya? I don't know. Maybe I need to. Maybe I need to consult my friend old Rob Halford.
Message from Rob Halford of Judas Priest.
Step on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
You know, maybe he speaks a lot of truth right there. Speaks a lot of truth in that clip from Turbo back in the days. But if you're into her, check it out. Very cool with the extra pieces there, the accessory pieces, and then the clear body parts, then the normal body parts, a little mix and match job. A very, very stunningly looking good figure. I like the looks of it. I just don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger. I guess we'll see. And speaking of triggers, it's Segway City here today. Valaverse. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the unboxings here on the channel. I've been unboxing a ton of Valaverse figures. Finally getting after my stack, going after them. I still got like 9 videos on Patreon, so you Patreon members have probably already dived into those. They will be on traditional YouTube eventually. When I see a spot, of course, we're doing 3 videos every single day. Where's my cape? Like young James Brown. But we got a lot of videos, a lot of content here. We'll get to them all eventually, but I do love the Valaverse. I love the G.I. Joe style figures, you guys know. Of course, G.I. Joe's always going to be my first love, but to be able to put some of those guys with some of those ranks, that really does work for me. But Valaverse did show, hey, we heard you, and there's a lot of fan connection, of course, with the Valaverse figures, Bobby Vala and all that, talking with the teams. I think you could probably Facebook message Bobby Vala if you wanted to and give some ideas. I'm sure he would. He's all over social media. media from what I've seen. But it sounds like they're going to give bigger bodies, and we're going to hear more about that in March 2023. There's going to be a thing called Valley Fair or Vala Fair, where they're going to, I'm sure, have, here's pre-orders, here's stuff coming, here's what's going on, taking the temperature of the fan base. But it sounds like they're going to have some bigger bodies in the Valaverse Action Force. That is pretty cool. Can we get a Nemesis Enforcer knockoff? Can we do something like that? We need a big guy like that. That would be something cool. But it sounds like we're going to hear more about these bigger bodies and who they're going to be on about a month away, something like that. And we're also supposed to find out about the action points. And every unboxing say, oh, 2 more action points. What am I going to do with these? It's like the Star Wars points of old. I'm going to be an Action Force billionaire at one point. But it sounds like you're going to be able to turn those in. It'll be interesting to see what you can get with that. Will you be able to get weapons, comic books, maybe a figure? I think that would be really, really cool if you could turn in 50 points and you get a free figure, something to that effect. That would be a really cool thing. So we'll see what happens. More on Valaverse, and if you're into those figures, check out the reviews on the channel. Check them out on Patreon as well. McFarland Toys, I always say I'm the hardest working man in YouTube land with all the videos I put out. Well, McFarland's right up there with me. We're on the same level, I guess, because he seemingly has a new announcement about every single day. And I'm not even kidding. Every day there's a new announcement for one of his toy lines or a new pre-order. There's something going on every day. So you got to give credit where credit's due. With McFarland, he's always working, always hustling, always has something coming out. Not always the best figures. There's always some issues from time to time, things like that. Omega Spawn looking at you. But for the most part, a lot of cool stuff from McFarland that I do like. And McFarland, of course, the Batman trilogy, we talked about it last week. We got in-package image shots this week. And then guess what? They went up for pre-order pretty much everywhere, Entertainment Earths of the world, you name it. You can pre-order this set. I actually ordered it. I said, you know what? Caught me at a weak moment, late at night. I pre-ordered it from the McFarland Toys website as I had a 10% off coupon code, and I think they had the set on sale for $89.99. Got to get a deal. You guys know how that goes. So I did pull the trigger. I'm not even the biggest fan of those Batman movies, but I really do want this Bane, and I wanted the Joker for sure. Scarecrow, we'll see. Two-Face, we'll see. But we'll see what happens. I can always sell them. I can always get rid of them if I need to. But I definitely wanted Bane. I definitely wanted the Joker from that set. So we'll see what happens. But it sounds like those might be shipping sooner rather than later, which would be very interesting as well if those things are shipping already from McFarland Toys. I guess stay tuned to the channel, stay tuned to weekly purchases, find out what's going on with all those. And then finally, the last bit of news before we do get into the album of the week, He-Man City going on. A lot of different announcements, a lot of stuff going on with He-Man. Of course, that Dark Evil Lyn went up for pre-order this week. I don't think anybody had any problems getting that one. Just a lot of stuff. Where's my Frogmonger? I don't know. Some people have him. I haven't got him shipped yet. But we did see the next round of Masters Universe Origin figures. Some of the stuff that had been teased out there is getting official releases. We got the Snake Trooper, another army builder, very, very cool. We're getting Slamurai, a nice repaint. And of course, I still have the Masters Universe Classics Snake Trooper Slamurai pack. It's like a 3-pack. I still have to unbox that. That's one of the, in my stack of things to unbox. So I might unbox that, then do the Origins right at the same time. We'll see if that happens. But we do get those coming. We do got a 2000 series King Randor, a very more modernized, non-Burger King looking King Randor, I guess. So part of the 2000 crew. In keeping with the theme of the Snake Men, of course, 2023, the year of the Snake Men, we're getting a Snake Woman as we're getting Snake Teela. So that'll be an interesting one as well. We'll have a little more He-Man stuff in weekly purchases tomorrow. So check out that one. So a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of rumors floating around about the Masterverse and the Masters Universe Origins line. A lot of leaked lineups, things that are supposedly coming. There's a lot going on. So it should be a little bit clearer here in the next month or so, I would imagine. But it sounds like there's still a lot of product coming from the Masters Universe. Sounds like the line isn't dead after all. And I didn't think that was the case, but you never know. 2023 is cranking out to be a strange year, and we're only like 7 weeks into it or something like that. So that's the news of the week. Let's dive into the album of the week now, and the album of the week is an interesting one. Of course, if you were watching the Super Bowl, and I was not watching the Super Bowl, I didn't watch it, but I did have to fight the traffic from the Super Bowl, as I was down in Kansas City as far as Wednesday it was, I think, this week, where they had the big parade. I was fighting traffic, trying to get around town, trying to avoid that traffic. You'll have to check out that video. It's the 24-hour Mission Impossible to Kansas City. I made it happen. Definitely check out that video. But during the Super Bowl, they apparently released the new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. And the big thing for me when I watched that trailer on YouTube, I said, oh boy, my boy Graham Bonnet getting the spotlight. And you guys know, maybe you don't know, but they did play Since You've Been Gone. Not the rockin' version I want to hear. It was like a more slowed down Since You've Been Gone. But of course, that's Graham Bonnet on lead vocals. That is from Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Graham Bonnet replacing, of course, the great, late great Ronnie James Dio. absolutely love Rainbow, love everything. Joe Lynn Turner era is a little bit okay to me, but the Graham Bonnet and Dio versions, man, I love them. And Graham Bonnet, one of my favorite singers of all time. Not necessarily a metal singer, but one of the most powerful voices I've ever heard live in concert. I saw him in a very small club show like 8-10 years ago up in Minneapolis when I was up there for work. I was right in front of him, and I could feel the voice. That's how powerful his voice was at the time. He's getting up there in age. He still does tour. I would still go in a heartbeat if he was around me. Love me some Graham Bonnet. Check out Graham Bonnet. But album of the week, Down to Earth from Rainbow. It's got Since You've Been Gone on there. One of his most famous songs, of course, All Night Long. He was also with the Michael Schenker Group, his solo years. I love me some Graham Bonnet. And album of the year, Down to Earth is going to be the album of the week this week, just because of that Guardians. I think it's probably turned on a whole new generation to Since You've Been Gone, so we'll see what happens with that. So there it is, album of the week, Rainbow, Down to Earth. Big toy news week. Of course, tomorrow going to be weekly purchases. Make sure you check that one out. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think about the toy news this week? Anything interests you? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. You might as well like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. As you guys know, we got videos every single day and then some. Even more content for you on the Patreon. We talked about that a little earlier, so check out the Patreon. You're truly your best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget to hit me up and follow along on social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. You know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into the weekend, and I'll see you guys all real soon.